Oh, on the mic? Well, it doesn't have to be. Now there is. Okay. I'm just going to start it. Because people aren't paying attention. Here we go. Yeah, that's good. Ready? Yeah, that's a good time.
Hello. Yeah, we are the Starry Expanse project. For those who aren't familiar, we are recreating Riven in real-time 3D.
Ah, wrong thing.
I assume everyone here knows what Riven is. Does anyone not know? Well, so it is the sequel to Myst. The original game was a series of 2D images that you could click through. It was sort of like a presentation slideshow type thing, not super fluid movement, but we are working hard to bring that to everyone here, as well as the wider world. And we are doing that via, well, we're about to explain it. Yeah, so we are a group of volunteers. We've been working on this for about, we're coming up on our 10th anniversary. It's a big project. Yeah, so we're building all of Riven from scratch. We don't have access to any like full 3D scenes or anything. We're building everything, modeling everything from ground zero, and texturing.
Ground zero?
from the emptiness of the Starfisher. There we go.
Okay, that's good.
And yeah, so we're using Unreal Engine 4, which is an amazing engine, and it's, well, you're going to see. We're located all around the world. There's people in Europe. There's people in Australia. One person in Australia. A couple people in Australia.
I think we just have one. Maybe two. I'm sorry.
We're all over the country. It is hard for us to get together in person, and so we're really lucky to have quite a few people here this year. Mm-hmm. So this is where we started. We were in the, well, at the very beginning, we were in the Uru engine, using some sort of hacky exporting plugins to export to Uru, which we thought was going to be where we were going to release the game, and it was going to be in Uru, and it was going to be multiplayer maybe, and it was going to be awesome. And then we were like, how will the gate room work if we have more than one person? Mm-hmm. You will be able to trap people in caves. That will be bad. And so we kind of ditched the multiplayer idea, and then eventually we ditched Uru as an engine. As much as we love Uru, it wasn't the best fit for us, and we moved on. Well, before this one that you see, we were in the Blender engine, which was moderately better, but we eventually moved on to Unity, which was amazing in comparison. And we actually released a demo. You can download it today off of our website, that you can play Prison Island in the Unity engine. And many iterations past, we rebuilt the game many times, and finally ended up settling on the Unreal Engine. And this is the same scene in an Unreal Engine. We have access to physically based rendering, which is an amazing system that lets us define how the materials should behave in terms of real-world properties like metallicness and roughness, instead of the more primitive, just specular and diffuse. And next slide, please. Here's some more images from Unreal Engine. These are actual screenshots. But there are some problems in the Starry Expanse.
He did this one, Zib, not me.
This was lifted from Zib's Facebook and mangled in Photoshop. I couldn't find a sad picture of Zib. But yes, so this is one of the problems. We have a sequential pipeline where it's hard to parallelize some things because there's dependencies on previous work being done. And so we start off with this process called camera matching, and I'll come back to that later. But then we move on to modeling, and then texturing sometimes happens then, and then other times we get it straight into the engine, and there's a bunch of other stuff happens right then. But texturing is going to take a while, and modeling also takes a while.
Do we have the...
Yeah.
No? Yeah, okay. Sorry.
I can just do this one.
Okay.
So modeling takes a long time. Unfortunately, texturing takes a longer time. And camera matching, the process by which we take 2D images and turn them into 3D scenes, takes a long, long time. And there's a lot of camera matching that we have to do before we can get started on any of the other stuff. So unfortunately, it's going to be a long project. So we've been trying to figure out how to speed things up. And we have quite a few ways up our sleeve to do this. For one, we've been building out our infrastructure. Every time we change our code, or anytime we change something about our Unreal Engine setup, we create a new build, which saves us a lot of time. Automation is amazing for game development, and we are hoping to. We've already open sourced some of the work that we've done on this, and you can find that on our GitHub if you are planning to build a game and you want some infrastructure. And then we've also been working on. Previously, in previous Mysteriums, we have sort of built stuff for Mysterium, and then we were so glad to have it for Mysterium, and it was amazing. And then right after Mysterium, we would kind of throw it away and then build it over again because it was oftentimes rushed and not done the correct way. But this year, we have done things a little bit in the right way. So mostly in the right way. So pretty much everything you see is set. We're probably going to use it. Yeah, things are in the right places. And as always, we're looking for more artists. So if you know any artists. Yep, and other than the ones that we listed, we also have some more tricks up our sleeve. So follow our blog if you are interested in learning more.
Why is that one there again?
I don't know. Here's another image.
Okay.
This is some materials tests. We're testing the material used for the Gold Dome on Temple Island.
Okay.
And now it's time for the demo. Woo! All right. I'm going to pass it over to Kelly, and she'll take over from here.
Hello, everyone in TV land. I'm assuming we're streaming. Outstanding. Okay. So, I did not do a very good job with the Q&A last year. I'm going to try to do a better job. Oh, we have sound. Preloading. So, and the cones get knocked over again. Okay. So, can everyone hear me okay? All's well? Excellent. Excellent. So normally, let's just pretend that we just linked right in here and skipped through that little intro. And so we would come out here and look at pretty things like the lovely, lovely telescope work that was done. And the overly giant dagger, and all sorts of good stuff. But normally, you know, when we come out here, we would expect to see maybe maybe a certain character, maybe somebody that might be off the cliff there, maybe. Okay. Ooh, we're landing. Yeah. So, okay. So here we are, Temple Island. Possibly giant stairs. Okay. All right, everyone. Which way should we go? Left, straight, or right? Right? Okay. No, straight it is. We're going to go right. We're going to go right later. Ooh, shiny. Look, it's a weird island that Cyan forgot they put in the game. Shiny, pretty. Okay. That's all. Now we're going to go right. I mean left. We're going to go left. We're going to go down this bridge. It's going to be awesome. Ooh. Spooky. So normally, we come into a room like this, and we just kind of sit here and watch the cage go up. We don't have the cage animating yet, but normally we can't go behind the cage, so this is fun, to be able to kind of come back here and say, ooh, spooky. This is the creepiest room in the whole game. I don't like it. Oops, wrong button. All hail the mighty cone gun. Okay. This might cause problems later. And the impossibly large temple that apparently Cyan went and made bigger later. It was good times. The creepy works, the offerings. I don't like this room. Okay. And it's huge. I know, but this is currently under construction, door no, we can't go that way yet. Rather than just having a giant hole, we decided to actually put something there. Okay, now we can see pretty things. Like the, you know, the ooh, yeah. There's ooh coming. Just wait. Here we go. I love that music. Ooh. Blue lights. Stars are coming soon. Don't worry. And our lovely Denis text translated by our resident expert. Wave, wherever you are. Seriously? Is Clemens not in the room? There he is. Okay, of course he's in the room. Yeah, we're playing here with some blending techniques. Once we put the brick texture on there, we're kind of playing around with different ways of blending the text to the walls. The fun part's going to be figuring out which phrase goes on which wall. We're not there yet. Okay, here we go. Moving on. That is a very imposing dome. It's huge. I don't understand. Which way? We can't really go straight. I mean, we could try, but... left? Right? Left? Okay. Whee. So obviously that'll be a lake down there eventually. It's just nice, bright, shiny at the moment. Oh. I guess not. Shoot cones into the lake? Okay. Kind of. There's collision there. They don't go through the collision. Maybe we shoot up. Nope, that didn't work. Alright. That's okay. That's a very creepy, kind of Darth Vader-y sound in the background there. What's that? Very, very slow breathing. Creepy. True! We have railings! We have lots of railings. One of our new guys did a lot of great work on this. So what do we think so far? That's an old generator. One of our guys is working on a new one, but... So far? Yay? Yay? Alright. Shiny. More prettiness. More shininess. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, I know one's missing. We're not there yet. But we have this impossibly large bridge. I've always wanted to ask Cyan how, you know what, we're going to put on the running shoes and we're just going to start hauling butt across this bridge because holy cow, this is an impossibly humongous bridge. Okay. Okay, here we go. This weird tunnel. So last year, we kind of showed off a little bit of Boiler Island, or a lot of Boiler Island. So we saw, you know, that stuff. We can shoot cones into that lake. Whee! Whee! Okay, that's fun. And so we kind of went from wandering around down there to Gen's lab up here, and this looks a little different this year. Some very, very shiny work has been done. So we're going to ooh and ah for a little bit. Get closer to some of these assets. So yeah, the art team has been working very hard to get these just looking absolutely top-notch and fantastic. Fun story about the question mark on the book. I always wondered about that. We asked Cyan about it, and apparently it was a texture that didn't load when they did the render for this area. So we haven't decided yet if we're going to just put a book texture on there or leave it as a question mark as a funny. So anyway, a lot of good work's been done. Still a little bit left to do in here with the E-tram jar, whatever, the jars of frogs, and all sorts of weird other things. Textures aren't loading. Okay, whatever. Ah, good times. And there's the all-powerful maglev. It's fancy. Obviously, doors are not opening right now. It's closed. I'm sorry. So that's all we have. We can continue to walk around into the caves if you would like to see the caves. And gaze longingly into the lake full of cones.
For you to walk around and
yes,
explore as well.
We will be setting up a computer or two with you can wander around. This is a build. So, and stuff. So do we want to see the caves? Do we want to just Yay? Yay? Okay. Yay! Do the thing. Okay. We've also been playing around with different techniques for the terrain. Unreal 4 has a terrain system where you can actually sculpt the terrain, and then it handles things like levels of detail, dropping off in the distance, UVs automatically, just doing all that work for us. So we're kind of comparing, does it work better to use Unreal system versus a regular mesh like we have out there now. And we have a sculpt, but we haven't cut holes into the caves. So if I were to load that, we would not be able to actually really do much. So still a little bit of work to do. Last year we had the ceiling here cutting through about chest level, so that doesn't happen anymore. That's good. Oh, come on. Doors will open soon. They don't open yet. I hate the staircase. It's pretty, it's fun to light, but no, it's not fun. And the fire marble dome. We're also still working on effects, visual effects, trying to figure out how to do, Philip, what's the word? I can never remember the word.
Phenakistoscope.
The what?
Phenakistoscope.
Thank you.
There's a strobe effect, and with the fire marble, I'm sure you all know. But there's a puzzle that involves flickering images, which turns out is not the easiest thing in real-time 3D, because you also have the flickering of the camera frame rate to deal with, and so we're going to have to work some magic to get that done. But, but we've got a solution. We've got a plan.
Oh, okay, good. we're currently, we need to adjust this. We're too fat to fit through the doorway at the moment. Or the doorway's too skinny, one of the two. So, I think we're about... I love that dome. That's fun. We can go back in the lab and peek around a little bit more, but that's about all she wrote for this year. Except for, of course, the almighty cone gun. Yeah, that's fun. Yep, so this is the terrain that's actually mesh, so you can see if we were to actually do the sculpting system, it would be much less, I can't actually point, but much less pointy. You can see kind of the peaks of the top there. It would be a lot smoother and just look a lot better. So I think it's time for questions now.
Yeah.
That one. Okay.
And we also wanted to thank all these people on the Starry Expanse project. You can read more about each of these people individually on our website on the team roster. And I also wanted to say thank you to Robin Miller for consulting with us.
He's been awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. He likes us a lot. Okay. We have more pages. There we go. Oh, yeah, and here's Cho. If you haven't seen Cho on our website, here's actually an up-close and personal version of Cho. Yeah, he's very awesome. Why is this not working? Okay, there we go.
And lastly, we wanted to ask, once again, if you know any artists or anybody who's skilled with 3D applications, please let them know to send us an email. We would love their help. And if you are an artist as well, we would love to work with you. Any questions?
That is Stickman. It's officially Stickman. This is Will's creation?
This is Stickman. It was a creation of Will, who worked on
He did the
you remember
sticks
back
in Jungle Basin.
Yeah, if you remember back a couple of years, we showed Jungle Island, featuring its many sticks that hold the walkways together, and he individually placed each of those sticks by hand. Yeah, and I think he went crazy. He was in pain. It was not fun. But this was his celebration for being done with it, I guess. So it has been titled Stickman, and he's our buddy. Yeah, but any questions about the project or presentation in general? Ed.
I guess it's a UE4 question.
Sure.
Do you have to do some finagling to get through like the pipes and stuff that you need to do for a couple of the solutions?
Yeah, the default walking character does not really have any mechanism for crawling through pipes, so we will have to have something, especially for when you have to hop up into the vertical pipe and like sort of crawl along. we're also going to have to make some concessions in terms of physical possibility, because the pipe that goes from the ETRAM cave, which you saw earlier, to Gen's lab is just enormous, and I think it would take like probably a couple minutes to walk across. So we're going to.
It's like the giant bridge where we were able to hold down the speed boots and just kind of. Yeah.
So we're going to have to do some physical changes to how physics works to get that to work as well. Yeah.
Cho is looking fantastic.
Thank you.
Just wondering how you came to the decision to go with the rendered characters rather than live actors.
So with live actors, there's so we have two options with live actors. We could either use the original footage, which I think it's probably self-evident why we can't use the original footage. It's just so tiny, so it's outdated in terms of resolution. And then the other option would be to refilm everything. But with refilming, there's a lot of costs involved with that. There's a lot of resources you have to do filming right. And so I feel like the more reasonable in terms of cost approaches would be either to hand model everything or to do motion capture, where it's still a lot of work, but it is less work because you don't have to have color necessarily accurate. You don't have to have it's just not as much work. You don't have to get as much of a set built and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, motion capture or hand animation will probably be how we go.
I hope not hand animation.
Yeah, hopefully not hand animation, because that is also a lot of work.
Does not sound like fun. Come on, I always have lots of questions. Go to town, people. Let's go.
So last year you showed a video of us riding through that little tram thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Is that scrubbed, or do you still have that somewhere?
So it's not scrubbed. The animation will still be used. We just have to create the code to get the player to actually mount onto the maglev and be translated through the world the correct way.
It was hacked. The animation is there, but the way we got to the animation was not correct. So that part was scrapped. We still have the animation. We just have not gotten to the actual. Hence the door being closed. Otherwise, we would have ridden the maglev today.
Yeah, the maglev is definitely one of the most fun parts to ride. In
One sec.
Oh.
So how much of the world have you actually sculpted and created? Obviously, a lot of it's untextured because that's a lot of work. But as far as that goes, how much of the world is actually done?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of assigning an actual number to how done are we, it's really hard because we don't necessarily know how much work is going to be put in, have to be required to build certain things. Like, for instance, terrain is going to be a lot more work than building, hard surfaces like the telescope. That's a lot more straightforward and a lot easier to estimate. So we can't really assign a number, but we have. You saw we have Garden Island, aka Survey Island, Boiler, Temple, and Prison, and we have
the Jungle Basin.
We have part of Jungle Island. It's the innermost. We call it the basin. Yeah. But there's still quite a lot more to be built at Jungle Island, and that's really the main. I think that's the main chunk that we still have to build out.
I wanted to put Jungle Basin in there, but it would look really awkward because we'd see it inside out. We'd see the. It would look very strange. It's kind of a floating bowl. It would be very odd.
So we do have much of. We have a reasonably confident camera match for Jungle Island, so we're on our way.
Sorry, another question. I noticed you can actually see through the lab to the flyer,
maglev,
which in the original game it was sort of too dark to really see easily. So, do you now have to come up with an animation to get the flyer there? Because what they did before was you were facing the other way when you clicked on the button to say bring me here, and by the time you got down the stairs enough so you could see it, time had passed and therefore it just magically was there.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I do know that when you call a maglev from Temple Island, for instance, it appears way sooner than it would normally, just because you don't want to be sitting there staring at nothing for a long time. So we might kind of hack where it starts, But then I feel like if you can see it, it's a lot easier to see it in real-time 3D probably because it'll be a lot more eye-catching.
Yeah.
So we'll probably just use the same animation as when you're flying.
I think the other difference also is that with the original game, that was more frames they had to render, so they were trying to keep those kind of down a little bit. And with Unreal being real time, I mean, yeah, we might have to edit a little bit so we're not waiting as long, but it's less of an issue of rendering an animation. It's just, once we have the animation, it's like, okay, well, there it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So does that?
Well, it's just that from a previous demo, I remember people saying
Mm-hmm.
we're going to stay exactly to the original ribbon. And this is sort
Well.
of something that's in the gray area.
Okay, so the question was, we were going to a previous demonstration. We were talking about staying as true to the original ribbon as possible, and you're absolutely right, except for the fact that Cyan cheated with a lot of things, and we're discovering that more and more as we go through various sections of like, oh hey, they would go into the temple, that big temple. That's a really good example. Because if you have the original game, there were these maps, the top-down views of the islands. And if you look, we used Temple Island as a base for where to place various assets, like the Superdome, and then the Gate Room, and then we got the temple. And I was like, the temple is huge. There is no way it's going to fit in that tiny little terrain. And then we discovered, oh, that was one of those rooms that as they were rendering out that sequence, they got into that temple and went, this is way too small, let's make it bigger. And so they completely redid it, and it was something that we had to go, well, okay, now we have to change the terrain to be able to envelop that temple. And so we will not be able to completely master every tiny little piece of the original ribbon. It's just not possible because of a rendered sequence this way and then a rendered sequence this way. This asset moves between the two. So we have to, okay, we're going to place it there. And it's not, every tiny piece is not going to be perfect. It can't be. But we are putting a lot of effort into being as close to the original as we can with some new stuff. Okay, microphone, go.
Hey, so along the same lines, can you talk about, are there aspects that you've discovered which are that you still don't know how you're going to be able to implement? Like there are still ongoing discussions, and 9 years later, you still don't know how on earth you're going to do that one thing. Or if there's a list, you can talk about all of them.
One that catches the mind is the Sunner Lagoon. So this is like sort of a timing puzzle with the original game. It's based on how fast you walk. But currently we don't really have plans to have running per se in our game. So it'll be a question of like, will people be able to guess that you have to slow down / stop to let the Sunners, do their thing and calm down? And then I'm kind of doubting that people will be able to guess that. So we might have to change that puzzle a little bit. But
okay. That's a good point.
And then there are a couple of things like that. What else is there? Just like cutscenes, whether we should freeze the camera or like have some sort of limited range of motion, especially for, we have not committed to VR, but we do want to play. I don't think so.
Okay.
We do want to get it into VR to see just how things work, and for our own enjoyment as well. We'll definitely release videos and stuff if we do. But in VR, you can obviously look around and you can actually move your head side to side a little bit, and it is supposed to work. And so there should be some range of motion, I think, for the cutscenes, but we haven't actually ironed that out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So follow up to that, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the order in which you want to build things out is kind of the low-hanging fruit first. So the more complicated things are going to be later. What's last on the list?
Last on the list is definitely all the live-action animation stuff, since that's going to be like, there's no point in investing a lot of money in that if we aren't definitely going to get to the end of this project. So we want to be sure that I'm confident that we will finish it, but yeah.
So it sounds like you were saying, you've got most of the environment kind of modeled out or blocked out.
Blocked out,
So
yeah.
what's left for camera matchers to do? Because you said you're looking for camera matchers still.
Yeah. So there's some pieces in Temple Island still. I don't know if anyone noticed the massive staircase that we walked up at the very beginning. That was my work. It failed. That handrail is supposed to be at waist level. It's like up here. And it's supposed to match up at the top with that big stone rock at the same level as the handrail across the bridge. They don't. So there's still some pieces on Temple Island. There's a lot on Jungle Island that still needs to be fleshed out.
I can add to that. I'm one of the camera
Matt's one of our
matchers on
guys.
the team.
Camera matcher extraordinaire.
Stand up. Come over here.
So as you saw us walking around, okay.
Well, come here.
Oh, hi. As we were walking around the scene, things are recognizable. As the general shape of things are pretty recognizable, but we are definitely sticklers for the accuracy, and so while we have the general block out, we go through a very complicated process of like getting things accurate to like inches of true life, or accuracy of the game where we can, and that goes along with when we are ready for something to be modeled, we usually have a block out of the model so that is kind of proportionally correct. It's more to do with proportions than anything else.
Yeah.
And it is another thing where we find that sometimes a scene you're familiar with in Riven, they take liberties with like camera height or just to get a more interesting angle because it's interesting for the game, but when you're constrained to a certain player height, things look a little strange.
The gate room. The gate room was a problem. We matched the gate room, we got it in there, and went, oh, that was a room they changed because now the beetles are up here, and they're supposed to be eye level. So,
yeah. So that's about it. There's still plenty more to match.
Yeah. Do we have any stream questions before we go nuts with more microphone stuff? No?
Mostly just is it going to support VR? That was the big
Got
one,
it.
but you guys covered that.
We know. We get it every year. Thanks.
I apologize if this has been covered in a previous
that's okay.
presentation, but yes, you're all volunteers, but you surely have expenses for stuff like this. How are you guys funded?
Donations?
There are a lot of donations.
And where do we donate?
Website.
Yeah, starryexpanse.com.
Okay.
Oh,
Donations are very much appreciated.
there's the website.
Yeah,
Right there.
there you go.
You put up the team page earlier. Would the members of the team who are here be willing to introduce themselves?
Absolutely. Starting
got
with
some
that one
faces?
right there. Hollister made the beautiful music for the 59 volts intro video doohickey that we showed.
And he's our most recent member.
Yeah.
That's what I did. She pretty much covered it.
He writes amazing music.
Come on,
You should
Zib.
visit his SoundCloud.
Hi, I am Zib. I used to give the presentation, and now I sit in the crowd, and it's very nice for me. I was one of the co-founders of the project, and I'm very excited about what's going on. And I don't know what else to say, so here's the microphone.
And Matthew, right here. Well, yeah, okay. I think that's it.
Is that it?
There's us. Hi. But
OHB?
OHB, yeah.
You and the questions, me. Okay. Question from the stream. I'm going to try to paraphrase here.
Okay.
Have you considered cheating to have the best of both worlds?
Oh, we've definitely cheated.
We've definitely cheated. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially Survey Island. Large chunks, especially like the Wark Cavern, they just can't fit inside the terrain. So we have, we change, when you're going down the elevator ride, we switch out some geometry. And it's cleverly hidden. But
that's what's happening. when you're going down the elevator. Can I share the how Survey Island broke?
Yeah.
Or rather, why it's broken? Okay,
Sure.
so Survey Island, as we know, is impossible. We go down the elevator. Originally, we were supposed to be completely underwater. So that warp cavern, that big giant warp cavern, that's not a lake, that's the ocean. Then they discovered, oh, all the other islands have 2 exits. This one only has 1. Let's add a maglev station right here. And then we went, huh? How on earth do we make this happen? So when you're going down the elevator, the island, that channel, the words are escaping me. The shaft, thank you. The shaft is doing this as you're moving. The whole, yeah, it's fun. It's cheating. It's good times. Okay. Questions? More? Yay? Yes?
Yeah. Follow up
Yes.
about the camera matching. So there's a bunch of software which will take photos and turn them into even a basic rudimentary 3D model.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about doing that, and did it work?
We have. It works sometimes. The problem is when we have assets that move from shot to shot, or when Cyan adjusted the camera height in different rooms. Then we start getting some really weird results. Yeah. That's true. There's also a resolution issue. Sometimes the photos are so the software looks at it and goes, this is 1 pixel. Like, what's supposed to happen here? And it's not as clear. So some of the results are like, we're going to put a skeleton here. It's like, well, no, that was supposed to be a table. Thank you. You know.
There are also some like higher end programs that seem like they would do it, but we can't really afford them.
Yeah.
Just because they're like $10,000 for one license.
And Matt has a question. You've risen your hand numerous times. Oh, Philip, go.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. Do I have to film myself? It's amazing to me, maybe because everyone else is more familiar with your work, that you've been on this project for so long and so attentive. The love and the passion for like getting so deep into it. I mean, it reminds me of, when great painters will, of course, copy other paintings and learn unbelievable things about the person or the spirit of the person. Is there anything beyond your technical appreciation for it, but just emotionally, artistically, or even just like in psychologically, in any way that you feel like the artists or the people, even if it's not the real people, it's like,
oh yeah, I mean, we all love Riven. I mean, we wouldn't have been working on it this long, I don't think, otherwise.
Yeah. Is there something you like? Is there something you notice, like, oh, this is like not just like a habit they did, but maybe this is the spirit of their kind of thing.
There's definitely the number 5 in a lot of places.
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
That's true.
Interesting.
That kind of reminds me of some of the. Well, okay, no, that's fair. So that kind of reminds me of a conversation we had, a very long conversation we had about the shape of bolts that should go in 233. Because the number 5 is absolutely everywhere, but in the original screenshots, they're 3 pixels big. So we had to kind of make a decision of like, what should these look like? And then we had to get into the theme of we had to get into Gen's head. We had to really think about what would he make these look like? He would make them 5-sided. Apparently Cyan agrees. So that was a fun conversation.
Yeah, a lot of the geometry, especially like the shapes of rooms, are actually 5-sided.
Yeah,
or
like this one.
Yeah, this one.
This one.
This one is
This was a
5-sided.
pain to model. Because I realized there were 5 walls, not 4. It was good times.
Yeah, what else? There's also 5 islands.
There's 5 islands. Yeah. There's 5. There's 20. There's 5.
Domes.
What? There's 5 domes. There's 25 of the. There's 5 animals. There's 25 of the little rocks. I know that was a trivia question yesterday, but.
Yeah, we've also learned some very perhaps esoteric facts about Riven. For instance, well, there's one place where you can. I'm not going to describe it in full, but like going from one place to another somehow closes a door in the middle.
Yeah.
Some things that don't seem
things that
like they would be worth to handle.
Yeah, that's true.
In terms
Like
of programming.
when you take the submarine down and you go through the lake and you take the work gallows up, you can't go back down. And if you leave and come back to that area, the submarine is magically back in its little spot. And somebody said, well, other people live there too. And I was like, well, okay, that's fair. But I think you're talking about the Boiler Island doors.
Yeah.
That
We have a Twitter called Starry Extras.
Yeah, we do. And that's when we talk about the stuff. The doors open, and then you go somewhere else, and you come back a different way, and they're closed. Or something like that. There's like inconsistent
Something
weirdness
like that,
that we haven't. Whatever.
It's weirdness.
You can still open the doors. I mean, they're just like, not the boiler. I'm thinking of the balcony that's inside the fire marble cave. When you climb up and you open those doors and then you have to close them again. If you open those doors and then you go through, and then you come back some other way, they're like closed again or they're open again or whatever. Some state that you didn't leave it in. So yeah, other pieces that we're not entirely sure how to do. Matthew has a question.
I've got to ask, is that cone gun going to be in the final game? Unlockable Easter egg, downloadable content.
I really want it to be.
Please. Yes, a cheat code, anything.
We talked last year about an Easter egg possibility. I don't know obviously we haven't made any decisions yet, but like something where at the very end, the fissure opens and cones just start flying out of the fissure. Like, how much fun would that be? Yeah. So,
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of Easter eggs, I think.
I hope
we
so.
Have something planned.
So, yeah, good times.
So one additional question. Mm-hmm. By parallel, Star Trek fan productions existed with Paramount's tacit blessing for a great deal of time until very recently.
Yeah.
And to the point where certain things would get shared between official productions and unofficial productions. Is this a case where Cyan physically cannot share things with you or legally cannot share things with you? And I had a follow-up to that, but I guess I forgot. So,
without going into too much detail.
NDA.
Well, yeah, true.
Well, we didn't say yes or no.
No. Yeah. We
can't talk about that. Unfortunately.
I'm sorry. They are very supportive of us. We can say that. We have had very positive conversations with them. They love us. Yes, I can't say that. We can't talk about other things.
And I think that the phrase tacit approval is a very good one in this situation.
Yeah.
They've been very supportive.
Yeah. Next question here.
I have a question. When you're writing in the dunny or trying to translate, are there how hard it is to translate into those notebooks?
Ask Clamus.
And have you found some translations that shocked you in the Riven? And in future projects, do you consider to do like a Myst 3 real time or a Myst 4 real time?
Oh, God.
So, Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we do any of our own translations. I think we just let Clamus do them.
Clamus actually does all of our Denis stuff. He's our resident Denis expert. So if stuff's hard to translate, ask him. And that's the truth. We haven't actually done any of our own translations. We say, Clamus, what does this say? And he sends me back text like the gate room. That was all his magic.
Pretty much, actually.
If there's mistakes, it's his fault.
Yeah, pretty much.
And as for things after Starry Expanse, we've been at this for many years, and there's still a few years ahead of us. We'll figure it out then.
Yeah. We do consider ourselves family. We want to do more games, but we don't know what stuff.
What kind of help do you need from others the most, and what kind of skills or experiences do people need for that?
Camera matching is the big kink in the hose. It's the hardest part of the whole process, but it's not something. It's a rare skill to find because a lot of games that are being made don't need that, right? They're just like, oh, let's just make this room and make it whatever we want. And tables might be a standard height, so they'll measure a standard height and standard chairs so that it feels right. But with Riven, that's kind of out the window, and we're trying to remake something that already exists. So there's that extra step that's very frustrating and very challenging, especially when they cheat. So.
Yeah, I would also say modeling, texturing, and animation are some of the biggest ones.
Yeah, art, short version.
Yeah, art.
But like with camera matching, if someone wanted to help, is this something that someone could just pick up, or does it require more training and skills to be able to do?
You're the camera matching expert. Do you want to talk about
Hand
it?
him out the microphone.
Yeah, so you can, if you have Riven and there are ways to extract the screenshots from the game. I mean, that's all we're using. We're just extracting and organizing screenshots. I mean, the camera matching technique is to you're just trying to figure out where the camera is. And you can use like open source software like Blender especially to get started, to see if this is something that is you have a knack for. There's not many like tutorials out there. I don't think so, unfortunately. I started to actually make a series of, and then maybe I'll get around to finishing those and release them.
The wiki.
Yeah,
We've
I was
got
asking him the other day, can we just like hire a contractor camera matcher? And he's like, no, I don't think that's a real job.
Yeah, that's not a thing, unfortunately. I don't know. Maybe it's worth spending some time to try to show off how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the solution.
Zib, I was going to say, Zib's got something to say. No? Come on. We talked about this. Okay. All right.
Anybody else? We're also obviously around if you want to ask a question later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Drew
You have a question?
There's stream questions. Oh, good. Hi, stream.
So we've had a lot of questions on the Twitch chat about what plans are or progress is about localization beyond just journals, but also voices. I know in the past there was an OHB element to that. I don't know if that's still in use or not, but can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
I don't have any updates. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go, Zib, go. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, so localization still is available on the Gulp project. I think there's a link somewhere on the Starry Expanse website. I'm just pulling up the statistics just so you can I'll read you what's in there just as an example. These are the languages that are done. Bulgarian, French, German, Greek. No, Greek's not quite done yet. Hungarian, Italian, Norwegian, Brazilian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Swedish, and there's a whole bunch of other languages that have been started. So Turkish is in progress, for example. There are over almost 4,000 translations that are done, and there's progress made in 65 languages. So you can translate it into any language that you want. It's a completely volunteer system. If you want to participate and you speak another language, spend a little bit of time and help out.
Cool. That's a lot of languages. I didn't know we had that many.
Those translations include journals and speeches, at the very least for subtitles. That's all I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool.
If you have any more...
Fine.
OHB, what's our time? Okay, so not bad.
Man, we really sped through that demo.
We did.
This is a slightly technical question. I'm being told that looking at the stream, that the demo posted on the website is still the Unreal Engine. Is there?
No.
It is.
So the only demo we've ever posted was I think it was from 2012, and that was in the Unity engine. So you can download that and still play it, but it's in Unity, and so it's a little bit outdated.
That's sorry, I had those mixed up.
Yeah.
They're asking if there's going to be an Unreal version.
We don't want to commit to that yet.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
Yeah. We should.
Along those lines, just because I know the file size for that demo, how are you going to fit it all onto one anything?
Oh, how cute.
What was the file size? I'm curious. It was like 3 gigabytes.
5
wasn't it?
gigs.
Yeah.
No, 5 gigs. Matt says it was mostly cloud images. You're talking about the Unity demo. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about this demo.
Oh, this demo.
This demo is 5 gigs.
Yeah, I mean, people can buy hard drives are cheap these days, right? I don't know.
Well, okay, to be fair, we have not done very much optimization yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't started doing any like file size compression or anything like that.
Yeah.
Also, I'll say that the first game was released on 5 CDs. Why can't we release this one on 5 dual-layer Blu-rays? Why not?
There you go.
What is that, 250 gigabytes?
Or 5 hard drives, for that matter.
I like the 5 hard drives. That'd be fun.
So, since the first game was released on 5 CDs, how many CDs do you think it will take for that game?
562.
Or do
I'm
you
kidding,
think
I
you
don't know.
can fit it all in one disc?
Man, I don't know. CD's like 500 megabytes.
Oh, God.
Does anybody even
No.
have a CD drive anymore?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of them don't, but my computer's like 5 years old.
We really are nowhere near that level of optimization
Completion,
and
yeah.
completion.
We
to
got
have
a
an
ways to
answer
go
for you.
there.
It'll definitely be primarily a downloadable game.
Yeah.
If there's a physical release, that's very, very far in the future.
Yeah.
So, and even then, it could probably be like, here's a disc that has an installer that downloads the game from the internet. So it's not actually that.
That
big
would
of
be
an
the way
issue.
to go. Yeah, yeah.
Somebody on the stream asked how much of a commitment we're looking for modelers and artists, and we'll take
We'll
pretty
take
much
whatever you can
anybody.
give
If you
us.
have any free time, a couple afternoons a week or something, you want to help us out with, we can use everybody. So hit us up.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's not.
Yeah,
we don't
we're
have
pretty
like a
flexible.
minimum. You must be available this minute. No, I mean if you
40
if
hours a
you-
week.
Yeah, if you've got some availability and you
No
want to
overtime.
help out, find us, call us, shoot us an email.
Anybody else?
I'm just gonna start dancing up here.
Great. Well, thank you everybody for
I think we're about done.
participating and watching.
Thanks, guys.
It was a pleasure.
We love you.
Yay! I actually I was about to ask if anybody had any questions. That's how awake I am.
No more questions?
What? Okay. Can we turn me off now?